music, then definitely Akon has to be one of them. He has been able to work with your favorite rappers, favorite rapper, from Eminem to Lil Wayne to Snoop Dogg to Young Jeezy. The list is endless. And like Linda did mention, he has been able to work with people from all the continents there is in this world. From Latin America, there are people there. From North America, from Africa as well. He has been relevant in the music game and of course in the world of business for over 20 years. How does he do this?
We don't know. We are going to ask him. I feel like he's the best person to answer all these questions. If there are any questions you had, I feel like now is the best time you can be able to share them so that he can be able to tell us what the answers are directly from the horse's mouth. I feel like it's better that way as opposed to assuming.
Ogambachi.
What's up, brother?
Ogambachi. No, you've been to Kampala many times, but now you should know what Ogambachi means.
No, actually, I haven't. When I was there, nobody taught me nothing.
Ah, come on.
When are you coming back?
Even wifey doesn't know?
Nobody taught me nothing, man.
Yeah?
Nobody taught me nothing.
So are you willing to come back to learn some more or something at least?
Yeah, because I'm coming back towards the end of December. And when I get out there, I'm going to be spending a lot of time in Uganda.
Oh, sweet.
What was your first impression, you know, when you first jetted into the country here in Uganda?
No, man, my first trip there, it was amazing. I mean, the place is so green, so beautiful. I mean, when I went to the lake and we got the tour guide, I went to go see the gorillas. I mean, I had the most amazing time, man. I was honestly really, really shocked, especially when I went to the residential area, saw how beautiful the houses there were and the people there, man. The way I was, you know, you could say introduced and the way I was received, I mean, I had an amazing time.
I mean, we do know you had an amazing time, so much so that you did express interests of, well, establishing a little Akon world, if I should say so, right here in Uganda. How far with that?
Yeah, so right now we just got the construction underway here in Senegal, which I'm currently now and finishing. So that one of the visits that I'm coming for in December is to start the feasibility studies on the Uganda Akon City.
Yes.
But obviously, before we got to know Akon, the business mogul, most of us got to know Akon, the musician. I mean, in your life, you could have been like Sadio Mane, you could have been playing football, but then again, you chose music. Why was that?
Well, interestingly enough, I play soccer better than I am in music. Honestly, had I been, because, you know, I'm from Senegal, and we grew up all playing soccer. When I went to the U.S., I was ranked #1 in the nation when I was in high school. But the problem was there was no popularity in soccer there, well, football, as you call it. It wasn't popular enough in the United States. So the next best thing was music. And, you know, fortunately, I made it really big in music.
You were doing really good in music. Actually, you've done more than so many artists could actually speak of. You've been able to reach heights that many artists would only dream of. But as soon as you got to that point, it felt like, it looked like you actually took a step back at a point where everyone could only go forward. Why would you step away from the musical scene even when you had been able to achieve such success?
Well, you know, at the time when I was at my peak, leading out of 2008 into 2010, the music industry itself was changing. You know, it was going more digital. A lot of the companies were going bankrupt, and a lot of the majors were, you know, laying off a lot of, you know, employees. And there was this huge shift from analog music to digital music. So that space and time, there wasn't much we could actually do within that transition. But what it allowed me to do was able to come back to Africa and utilize my celebrity and utilize the success I had in the music business to start investing back into Africa. And that led into a whole nother plan for me and created a whole nother legacy platform for myself, you know?
And Akon, we know obviously you have roots deep down in Senegal, but then again, you grew up in New Jersey. How did growing up in a place like New Jersey influence the way with which you approach the world of music?
Yeah, I would definitely give New Jersey more of the credit on a musical level, because there is where I pretty much decided that I was going to do music. You know, music was very, you know, popular, you know, in America at that time, especially hip hop music. And the one thing that hip hop music actually I was able to relate with was the struggle. You know, the struggle of hip hop music versus every time when I went back home to Africa for summer vacation, I would actually witness it, experience it with my family members. It was something and an easy topic to speak about, and it was something that actually worked very well within the hip hop community. So it all worked out for me.
Oh yes, many a time you did get to speak about, well, passing on that mantle to someone else that can be able to step into the foot, or basically uplifting artists not just from Africa but anywhere. How far have you actually
Right.
been able to go when it comes to, well, introducing the world to even more of the young and up and coming talents?
Oh, well, I mean, that's been my life's career pretty much. You know, as I became an artist myself, right after the success of Locked Up, I started signing brand new artists. You know, and that's when I introduced T-Pain to the business, and he became super big. I had signed French Montana around that same time and released him later. But then before then, you had Cardinal Official and Kobe Odonis, and then I finally found Lady Gaga, who also became one of the biggest artists that I've ever signed on my pop label side. And shortly after that, that's when I went and started focusing on Africa and started finding artists like Wizkid and, you know, P Square, you know, and being introduced to people like Davido and D'banj and dealing with all of their international level stuff, you know. So it opened up the door for a huge market everywhere in the world, all the way down to the Latin music side with Ozuna and all these artists that a lot of people don't know that I had hands in, you know. So it kind of opened up the door for me to be able to utilize my platform to give new artists an opportunity to become successful.
Obviously, we have to big it up to you. I mean, I'm a huge fan of mans like French Montana,
Yeah.
Lady Gaga,
Yeah.
T-Pain, all these names that are huge.
You name it.
But we know not long ago, you also put pen to paper to the late Costa Teach. Talk to us about just
Yeah.
working with him within that particular time.
Yeah, man. Costa is one of the rare things that I honestly believe that the world was deprived of what that was. Man, I really wanted to see that play all the way out. Unfortunately, as you know, he passed away in a very untimely, you know, death. But he was a superstar, man. This kid, his performance, his vision, and then the fact that he was a white African, to me, I was, you know, utilizing that as a way of bridging the rest of the world and let them know how much and how versatile Africa is as people, you know. So, but he was so talented, man. It was one of the kids that I was super excited about, and I felt like he was going to be the male version of what Gaga was to me globally.
Oh, nice. I mean, well, that is so true. And one of the things I think so many of the artists here in Uganda have been able to argue about is the fact that they feel like the world of music is a bit unfair when it comes to the African side as opposed to, well, the people outside, let's say in the States, Latin America and everything, when it comes to the numbers. The question is, how do they get to, well, battle on the same line as the artists who are, let me say, blown up from the outside?
Well, that one I probably wouldn't say that's quite accurate. It's just, you know, Africa kind of started a little slower than most, and the biggest problem with Africa was the language barrier. You know, the Latin community suffered from the same exact thing that Africans claim to have suffered themselves, but with Latin it was different because they actually came together and they started creating platforms for Latin people in America to make it easier for Latin artists to break. So that's why they were able to do such big numbers, because most of it is home support. It's also platforms that's Latin based that's working in America. And I think Africa, with us, we were always dependent on other people to make us successful or make us popular or even be the ones that dictate how successful we should be. And we haven't created African platforms in America for African artists to push through. So it took a lot longer for Africans. But I mean, right now, Afrobeat is the most sought out after music in the globe. So we're there. The only thing is we have to stay there. And the only way to stay there is we got to build our own platforms to keep supporting our own music. Otherwise, we dictate what they think is hot in Afrobeat, whether it's Amapiano, whether it's anything. So we have to be able to be more active when it comes to creating platforms of our own that we can expose our own talents on.
How then, Akon, do African artists attract such huge investors who do successfully well when it comes to other industries, name it sports, tourism, but then again, they seem to be lacking when it comes to backing up their money where the music is?
Well, the thing is, I think there's a lot of misinformation when it comes to music. Right now, Afrobeat is the biggest selling music globally. I don't know if you guys know that, but it's the top #1 music right now. You have local Nigerian and Ghana acts selling out stadiums here in America now. And even American artists can't do that. So believe me, the money's there, the investment is also there. We just have to communicate together as a people and control it to where we don't lose control of it.
Oh, yes, but speaking of, I mean, so many accolades have come out when it comes to the Grammys, the BETs, and all that. You keep insisting that Afrobeat is basically one of the biggest, but not so many times have we seen people or artists from Africa be accorded those nominations, let's say win. So we're wondering how do they actually get to be also part of such prestigious awards?
But this is where I go back again.
Yeah.
They didn't have Grammys for Latin people either. But guess what? The Latin people came and created Latin Grammys.
Oh.
You understand? So
yes.
We have to create our own platforms. We can't wait for them to come and say, "Oh, Afrobeat is number one." Well, no, because if they do that, then that's saying that they're number two, and they're not going to do that in their own country and their own platforms and their own infrastructure. So we have to create infrastructure of our own that gives us validated information when it comes to this kind of stuff. If we sit around and waiting for their platforms to recognize us, we'll be waiting forever. Yeah. It's obvious that right now, African music is right now running the scene, but there's no platforms that we own or control that's saying that. We're waiting for their platforms to say it. And I think that's going to be the wrong way to go. We have to now start investing in ourselves, and whenever they don't nominate us, we nominate ourselves.
Oh, nice.
That's a nice do one. Me, I do you, and learning from the best. Now, we know convict music has been a while for a minute, and now we have convict culture. What is the future like for convict culture?
Yeah, so convict culture is just an extension of convict music. Convict music was more of the legacy side of it, and now the future is convict culture, because convict now is so much more than just music. We're doing everything, and it's everything related to the culture itself. And I think the younger generation will be what takes us to the next level. So now we're releasing records from the Convict Culture brand just to give opportunity for the younger generation to take the music scene and everything else, entertainment, to the next level.
Oh, yes, we do. You're talking about entertainment, and we know that you are well set to have a tour, and people want to know what they can expect when it comes to, Akon actually being on tour again.
Yeah, so the first tour that we decided to do was called the Akon Superfan Tour.
Yeah.
This tour here is literally for the superfans only. We decided to specially pick venues that only held about 35, no more than 4,000 people. So it's nice and small, it's nice and intimate, and the people that have been following me from day one, well, believe me, they're going to be the ones that get the first tickets. I already know this because they know they've been following me forever, so they know how to get to it. Yes. And then we're going to follow that tour with a major arena tour domestically, and then we're going to go also into Africa and do a Pan-African tour as well.
Do we have a Ugandan
stopover by any chance?
Yeah, well, interestingly enough, we are looking to do something major in Uganda with that new stadium that Hams has built. So we'll be there to support him as well too, and do a major concert there.
With your very good friend, Ham. Ham has built this fantastic, and I know he hosted you at his place, and Eddie Kenzo as well. We know there are some conversations going on around Burna Boy also being part of the official opening. Are you telling us right now?
And just so you know, I'm organizing the opening as we speak. We're putting it all together.
Nice.
Yeah, so the tour, when it does come, it will be in that stadium 100%. And we are looking to bring a lot of talent to Uganda, because the problem with Uganda, they never really had a venue where you can bring this kind of talent. But now that it exists, we're going to try to bring the lifestyle to Uganda in a big way.
That's beautiful. But when you tease the Ugandan fans, and I'm assuming all the fans out there with the tour, they will start to expect more of Akon musically. Would you be willing to take back, the Akon musician shine as opposed to Akon the businessman?
Well, I mean, I think the businessman comes natural. The music is the one part that's more of a passion for me, So I think now that we're back and, releasing records again, I got the convict culture blowing and all the newer artists pushing. So when I move in that area, it's going to be felt. And I think it's going to be in a good place now to where we can actually properly celebrate more from a musical standpoint. Yeah. And then, of course, with the music and entertainment, as we bring it to Uganda, we'll be doing the business there, building the city, opening up more opportunities to create jobs in the area,
Niceness. Ooh, now, let's talk about your brand new body of work, Afro Freak. What went into the creation of this particular body of work?
So the only thing that went into that was energy. We had so much fun doing it. This was the last EP that I was going to put out before my official album, and I wanted it to be culture. I wanted to go back to Africa, get back into my scene. We did a remix on it, and the whole remix is what you're hearing now is the Afro Freak was the remix of the TT Freak, which was the first release, which was more Afrobeat. But now the Afro Freak is more I'm a piano strip.
Yeah.
And I got two of my brand new artists that I'm featured on there. One is Amira. She's coming out very, very soon. Her new single will be dropping next month called Far Away. And the other one is Javor, who's actually featured on a song called So Rough, which is the first one on there. And his record also will be dropping next month as well. And then we have Necktunes out of Ghana, who's a DJ/artist as well. So he's going to be like more of our African David Guetta style, black coffee DJ type style. His name is Necktunes, who we're actually working on as we speak as well.
Oh,
well,
beautiful.
We are definitely enjoying.
I speak for myself when I say I would like to feature in this in this project. Whether it's as a DJ or as a vixen is up to you.
Yes, you're open for all sorts of collaborations.
It sounds like a very
that's my
interesting
guy. And then, of course, I forgot, you also have Mr. Brown, who's one of our producers that we just signed as well.
Yes.
He's actually based out of South Africa.
Nice. Mr. Brown did the remix for Enjoy That.
Yeah.
Nice.
The remix for Enjoy That. That's actually him singing on there, too.
Yeah. Great stuff right there. Well, Akon, thank you so much for spending time to speak to us. And before we let you go, I know you're such a busy man. Tomorrow you have a show down in Dakar, Senegal.
Actually, it's a party. I got a party in Dakar. Yeah, the party is actually celebrating Amira's birthday. It's her birthday this week, so we decided to do a big party here in Dakar. So that's what we'll be doing tomorrow.
All right. Our co-host also was celebrating his birthday just the other day. You want to wish him a happy birthday? He goes by the name
really?
Dagi Nice.
Oh, man, happy birthday, happy birthday.
All right. Akon, any last remarks for your fans down here in Uganda?
Yes, Uganda, thank you guys for all the support, man. I really appreciate you. Even when there was a lot of negative press coming our way when we announced the concept for Akon City, a lot of you guys stood up for us and believed in the project. Thank you guys so much, because it's going to take that kind of support to get these projects actually going. But I will let you know that I'll be out there towards the end of December. We will get the project moving and going with the government there. We'll start doing all the feasibility studies to understand exactly what needs to happen. But just know it's a real project, it's a real thing, and we will need you guys' support, because there's going to be a lot of opposition that don't want it to happen. I mean, it's no different from Hams in that stadium. I mean, from day one, I remember him trying to pull it together and all the pushback that he got, but the people not realizing that's going to bring more, positivity, more jobs, and more economy, value to the country. So these are the things that we have to support. Like, we have to get behind these things and build our country ourselves and not let the foreigners come and interrupt it. But just want to thank Uganda for being strong and backing me on this whole thing. I really appreciate you for that.
Well, thank you so much. VJ Baby Love is telling me he has 4 songs, and you have to choose which one he needs to play and in what order, right? He has Enjoy That. He has Enjoy That, the remix. Yeah. He has Prolicat. He has Loco, and he has Big Flexer, the remix.
Hey, you can play it in that exact order. I like that order.
You like the order? All right, let's start with Enjoy That. We go over to Prolicat, then Loco, and of course, Big Flexer, the remix. Thank you so much, Akon, for spending time to turn on our world right here on NTV The Beat.